Patrick Henningsen. He's associate editor of independent news website Infowars.com, joining me live now. This new transitional plan does not demand Assad to resign. But if, as Washington says, the regime is behind the bloodshed, is that a justified position to take?
Well, Washington's position is a kind of non-negotiable position. This is a similar position that Israel, for instance, would take in any Palestinian peace agreement, where they just bury their feet right there in the ground and say, we're not budging, we're not going to have any variations from what we want from the plan. So as far as negotiations go, this Geneva meeting, so far, it looks like they're just going through the motions. In other words, Washington and London and their allies in the Gulf states are being seen to look as if they're trying to negotiate a peace settlement. But what's really happening is the West has been backing the rebels the whole way along from over a year ago. So to destabilize Syria and get to this point in history. So what's going to come after this, most people who saw what happened in Libya in 2011, just give you an idea of where Syria is heading right now.
But we have to acknowledge the fact that the US and its allies have indeed compromised with Russia and accepted a plan that excludes a direct reference to Assad stepping down, something that Russia's been calling on for a long time now. And that is a compromise, and that's surely a step in the right direction, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. That's a positive step. But also we have to look over at statements from the Syrian government. Assad has said on Iranian television that Syria will not accept under any conditions any kind of plan that is non-Syrian and non-national. In other words, what Assad has done there, he's given you a hint in the media as to what the West plans are for Syria. Ideally, they would like to break the country up into separate regions and to balkanize that country for many reasons. Energy pipeline project coming out of Qatar, for one, and there's other reasons as well, as far as border disputes and territorial disputes with Turkey, and also to minimize Russia's influence, not just on Tartus, but overall in the coastal region.
But it's all very well to come up with a plan to create a transitional government, but bearing in mind that the country is torn apart at the moment, is it in any position whatsoever to do that without outside help or some form of mediation?
Well, Bill, like I said before at the beginning of this segment, I believe this Geneva meeting is set up to fail for the very reasons you just mentioned right there. That right now, as this meeting is going on in Geneva, the West are backing proxy guerrilla armies of foreign fighters who are getting refuge in countries like Turkey over the border where Syria cannot hit them. And now if this was happening in Canada over the Canadian border with the United States, they would not be sitting down in Geneva talking about it. I think that's quite clear. So again, we have two sets of rules in the international community. We have one set of rules for the NATO countries and for Israel, and we have another set of rules for anybody else that doesn't fall within those bounds. And that's exactly what you're seeing here. I don't have very positive prospects for Geneva.
Yeah, but why then would the international community really want to risk those serious implications if we see further collapse within Syria and, of course, the impact it has beyond Syria, as you've been mentioned earlier? I mean, still many people don't understand why the international community would want that, because it is a serious implication, isn't it now?
It is. No, the international community, in terms of, we're talking about citizens in democratic countries, fellow man, they shouldn't tolerate this. However, the international community, when it comes and spoken of in the UN, with Western agents, essentially, like Kofi Annan and Ban Ki-moon, they're saying that, oh, this conflict is very serious and has very serious implications regionally and globally. So we need to stop this. Kofi Annan has never sat down or spoken to a camera or in the media and censured and cited the U.S. and London and the other Gulf states like Qatar and Saudi Arabia. It's essentially war crimes, fomenting a civil war in another country with the implications you've mentioned. This is the pathway for Washington and the neoconservative elements and Hillary Clinton and also the globalists in Europe. This is their pathway to Iran. Syria must fall in order for them to attack Iran, because they need to neutralize Hezbollah in Lebanon first. Otherwise, Israel and the United States cannot go in unilaterally on an attack at Iran. I'm afraid to say, Bill, this is the master plan coming out of the Pentagon and coming out of these think tanks like Bilderberg and the Council on Foreign Relations and so forth. I hate to say it, that is absolutely what is going on. But it's not a pretty picture.
No, certainly a stark prediction there. Patrick, thank you very much indeed for your thoughts. Patrick Henningsen, Associate Editor of an independent news source, Infowars.com, joining us live there in London. Thanks for your time. Well, for